Welcome to Dream Small, where we believe God does big things through the small and everyday faithfulness of His people. I'm Jason.
And I'm Whitney. We're a family of 8 who's fostered, adopted, and stumbled our way through learning that small, everyday choices can change lives.
In a world that tells you to chase big, we dare you to dream small.
Because you know what? It's not about chasing fame. It's about choosing faithfulness.
Welcome back to Dream Small. I'm here. Unfortunately, this week, Whitney is not with us, but maybe even better, Laney is with us.
Hi.
We wanted to do something fun, a little more unique this week. As we've shared, we've got some crazy stuff going on in our house with a new baby. So, yeah. So Laney is going to interview me this week.
Yes, I am. I'm excited.
About being a dad, about being a foster dad, and all the things. It was her idea. So she's pretty smart, that kid of ours. She's gonna interview me, and we're gonna have a conversation. Hopefully, you all enjoy it. It's been a while since we've recorded an episode because we interviewed Bree the last two, and I would encourage you to go back and listen to both of those and her amazing story of perseverance and overcoming some of the biggest obstacles life can throw at you as a child. Also, would love you to like the show, review the show, leave a rating, and share for people that you think might find it useful. All right, Laney, you ready to get started?
Sure.
Do you want to add anything before you ask me the first question?
No.
Okay.
What did you think being a dad would be like before you actually became one?
That's an interesting question. I don't know if I had any preconceived notions of what being a dad would be like. I don't know. I can tell you what it's become is how much the kids have sort of strengthened my faith and sharpened me. When you have this perception of being a parent, you think it's going to be challenging at certain times, easy at different times. That is partially true, but it's also hard a lot. A lot of my growing now as an adult and as a parent has come from my kids learning, to seeing your guys' hearts for people, learning patience is another thing you guys helped me learn. Seeing things through different eyes. You know, Benny has autism, so he sees the world completely different than the rest of us. So learning how to pause and see from his perspective that is far different than most of ours, I think, is a lot. You know, a lot of times people have said, you know, your spouse is used to help sanctify you more in your walk with God. And I would also challenge that kids are the same way.
Yeah, you have like all the different perspectives of being a dad, because when there's a new kid, it's all just different.
Oh, every single kid is different. It's more remarkable how different you and your brother are, the two kids we made, and you guys are the same DNA, and just how different you two are. It's remarkable.
What's something that surprised you about parenting?
How often I have to tell you guys the same thing over and over for you to obey and learn it.
Goes in one ear, goes out the other.
I'm glad you realize that. I would say that, and with that is an appropriate amount of grace. A lot of times it's easy to get frustrated as a dad, as a parent, remembering how much grace God has given me, and as a father, giving a small amount of that grace to my kids, I think is the biggest thing that I've needed. Looking back as me as a kid, the perception is my mom and dad just had to tell me things once, and I learned it and I did it great. That obviously isn't the truth, but that was my perception becoming a parent. And now being a parent, how many times you have to review with your kids over and over and over again, and how much like your mother and me you guys really are. Even our adopted kids, it's funny how much they are like us. And it's funny dealing with little micro versions of yourself sometimes.
What's your favorite thing about being a dad to a big family?
Oh, all the personalities. Each kid is completely different. And they say when you staying busy is good. I hope that's the truth, because you guys, we aren't a busy family. We try not to overschedule ourselves, but with just so many people, it becomes busy. So keeping us on our toes, I think having such full schedules has forced your mother and I to communicate a lot. I think that communication has helped us form a stronger marriage and refine our communication skills. What else is about being a dad to a big family?
It's never boring.
It is never boring. Learning to live without a lot of sleep, learning to be flexible. You know, one kid needs yelled at, another kid needs snuggled, another kid needs words of affirmation, another kid needs challenged. How learning it becomes you a better parent, a better leader, just learning all these different personalities. Getting to love you guys is a lot of fun. Like last night with you running and putting on your blow up cow costume and rolling down the hill in our yard and wrestling with the kids. That was hilarious. That's fun. Without a big family, that wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah.
Seeing all you guys now in different stages. You're a preteen and we have a 2-month-old and everything in between, and just getting to live all of those stages of life simultaneously keeps you sharp.
Mm-hmm. If you could describe our family in 3 words, what would they be?
3 words? I would say joyful overall. I think we have a pretty joyful family. That would be one. What do you think?
My 3 words would be chaos, if that's even like a word to describe a family.
Yeah, that would be. That was going to be one of my words.
Busy, and then happy, because like we all like are happy, but then we also get on each other's nerves easily.
Joyful, yeah, I would say joyful, loving, because we all, even though we all drive each other crazy sometimes, I think we all love each other. Mm-hmm. And chaos is good. You know, there's always new.
Like the bonfire, like we're all just like loving each other then. Like,
seeing you guys all play flashlight tag the last couple of nights has been a lot of fun. You guys are great kids overall. Sometimes you'll lose your souls and forget how to act right, but you guys are wonderful kids. And just seeing everybody interact and love each other is probably fun. So I would say joyful, chaotic, and loving would be the 3 words I would choose to describe our family.
What is one thing you've learned from each of your kids?
What is one thing I've learned from each one of you?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of kids to go through. Oh, what have I learned from each one of you? Let me think. So Leah, I think I have learned the power of just a hug and a snuggle. Because she can be just, what's it called? What do you guys say? Crashing out? Crashing out. And you just give her a hug and give her some lap time, and she kind of resets, just getting that connection with her parent. She desperately needs connection, much more than you guys. So with her, the power of a hug and just love, and like a physical love, like hug, a lap, a pat on the back, something like that. Benny, what I've learned is seeing things through different eyes. As I said before, with his autism, has a very unique perspective on things, and he has taught me how to see things differently and how that can impact somebody. He's gotten upset before with things I never would have thought of, but when he explains it, how he has seen it, I get why he's upset. So I would describe that as maybe empathy. Bray Bray, what have I learned from Bray Bray? He's 3.
He likes dinosaurs.
He likes dinosaurs, but what has he taught me? I think Bray Bray has just taught me like the power of God, because that little dude, there is 0 reason he should still be alive from when he came and been as good off as he's doing. So I would say Bray Bray has taught me the power of God, the power of prayer, and even when us humans have evil intentions, God can overcome it. His story is so remarkable and how good he's doing. And you, I think you've taught me not to downplay the power of kids. You know, you're 11, and a lot of times people dismiss the intelligence and the capability of an 11-year-old. I think you are mature beyond your years, and you've shown me through your Laney's love, wanting to do that, how you love your siblings, how you love your teachers, how you love your peers, and just your perspective on things, how powerful a young person can truly be when they want to be. So I'm going to go with those 4 things. What do you think? Think those are good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How has your faith helped you when parenting gets hard?
Faith is what has gotten me through parenting at hard times, whether it's kids just crashing out constantly and not understanding it, through trying to teach older kids lessons and obedience and why we do things a certain way and why it's important to keep your room cleaned up and why it's important to prepare your book bag the night before. Just that grace and knowing God's got this. You guys are God's kids. He has just given your mom and I the responsibility to raise you here on earth. And despite my worst efforts to potentially screw you up, God has it all under control, but I need to do my part and do my best. So I would say faith, that's how faith has helped me, is realizing it's ultimately God's hand in all this. I just need to be obedient and pursue him and try to be as closely tied to Jesus as I can, and my parenting skills will take care of themselves.
What do you think God has taught you through fostering and adoption?
That's a really good question. Through foster and adoption, what God has taught me is just a teeny tiny glimpse of what his heart is really like. All of us that follow Jesus are all adopted children of God, and just understanding through adoption and foster care, just how we've done that just on a teeny tiny fractional level of what he's done. Just knowing that's his heart for all of us. Also, kind of like what Romans 12 says, is that our lives should be a living and holy sacrifice for God. So many people don't do hard things. They worry about the temporal, the temporary, the now. And that's not what the Bible commands us to do. By being foster parents, that is how God has called us to live sacrificial lives. And I think we've done that pretty well through foster care. It helps us through foster care. It helps me keep the vision on the eternal and not the temporary. Like I think it's Colossians or Corinthians, one of those where it says our vision should stay on eternity. And I think foster care helps me do that.
How do you keep trusting God when things don't go how we planned?
That's a really good question. It's hard sometimes, right? It's really hard to keep trusting God sometimes when things don't go as planned. I stink at memorizing Bible verses, but one of them I actually have memorized is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. I think trusting God with everything is the only option I have decided I have. Whether it's you guys as kids, whether it's mommy's cancer diagnosis from a year ago. If I don't trust God, I don't got nothing. There's nothing I can do to change your guys' health. There's nothing I can do in my power. So the only thing that helps me remain sane is to trust God with all of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What do you think? How about you? How do you trust God when things don't go as planned?
I just rely on him, and then I pray that if it's a bad thing, that it'll turn around and there'll be something good that comes to make us all happier. Or when our oldest foster kid right now, when she went home the first time, we just had to keep trusting that she was going to be safe.
Yeah. I mean, also, I don't know if you remember when mommy when we had the miscarriage, when she was pregnant with what would have been your youngest sibling. And without that, I don't know if we have all the siblings you do now.
Yeah.
We'd be a family of 3 instead of a family of... we'd be a family of 5 instead of a family of 9.
That's crazy. Added 4 more people.
Yeah, it is crazy. That's one word for it.
What's a moment you've seen God show up for our family in a big way?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I remember when Benny was born, his umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck, and his umbilical cord was really, really thin. I remember the doctor's look on his face of kind of oh my gosh, this could have been really bad. Just God protecting him in that. When Benny was 2 and had to go to the hospital, and he was basically paralyzed from his belly button down, and all the doctors were saying scary neurological diseases like Guillain-Barré syndrome, meningitis, all these really scary nerve diseases. And then all of a sudden they did a spinal tap and looked at his spinal fluid, and it was normal. And then all of a sudden his body reset and he was good to go. It was a miracle.
Yeah.
People have asked, no, what did the doctors say? What was the and the most simplistic answer is it was a miracle, because the doctor's look on his face when he read the instructions to me and how they looked before it, clearly a miracle. I mean, think of all the other ways people have shown up to give us, beds, cribs, toilet paper, paper towels, donated money so we can buy bassinets, babysat. It's so many.
Built a room in the basement.
So yeah, somebody built us an extra bedroom in the basement. That was even that story is incredible, because that was before we even knew our brand new 2-year-old foster daughter would be coming to us. If somebody at our church said, "Hey, we'd like to do something for a foster family," and they own a construction company and they offered to build us a bedroom, and we were like, oh, we don't need one. Well, fast forward to, this was October, fast forward to February the following year. This little girl showed up and we needed an extra bedroom. We said, hey.
It's like days before she was born that they asked.
It was days before she was born. Yeah, or right around when she was born. So I just keep in mind Ephesians 3:20. He is able to do immeasurably more than we ask or imagine. And God, by us saying yes and doing hard things, and I think that allows us to, it gives God an opportunity to show his power and sovereignty in our lives, and then obviously people get to see that around us. So it's pretty awesome. So that's a small little glimpse of how God has showed up. I wish, it's so crazy. What about you? Which one would you say is the biggest way God has showed up in our family's lives?
Probably like when everyone's like, probably when people donate like beds and stuff. So like, or like we don't need to share rooms. And then like they just give beds. So like we don't need to share beds or anything with
What do you think if we give you guys all bunk beds and make you all share like 2 bedrooms? Like military style.
That'd be something.
That would be something. I mean, what about when you had your tonsil bleed and how God protected you through that? That could have been even more scary than it already was.
Yeah.
And he turned it into something good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like your Laney's love. That wouldn't have happened if not for that. Oh, okay.
How do you pray for our family?
The first thing I always pray for is protection. That's obvious. I want you guys to stay safe. I pray for your hearts, that I can guide and shepherd your hearts well, as I pray that as you guys continue to get older and more grown up, that you would stay close to Jesus and you would remain close to God, that you guys pursue him with your hearts, that you give your lives to him and your lives reflect it. And it's awesome to see you guys, all of you, the oldest 3, you, Benny and Leah, all of your lives reflect already that you guys love Jesus and have Jesus in your life. Just how you're loving to one another most of the time, how you're patient most of the time, and just generally your hearts for one another. I pray that your mom and I make wise decisions. There's a lot of things I pray for you guys and our family. Pray that we just continue being obedient to God's call, whatever it is, and that if he leads us different directions, we're not hesitant or scared or whatever it may be. I mean, honestly, I pray a lot for Mommy and getting her 1-year cancer results back this past week, that her cancer markers are undetectable.
It's been a year?
It's been a year since she first left. It is a huge
for
deal.
Radiation or for like
Since
surgery?
she left for radiation, I think a year ago, almost exactly to the day today. But it's been a year since she first got treatment and all that. And once making it to the year with her type of cancer is a big milestone. And, just it's scary when you hear that your wife has cancer, even if it's a very treatable kind. And to think that you might have, because our brains always go to the scariest thing, right? Like it might be me raising all you guys on my own. That's scary. I pray for Mommy's health every day. Because the idea of being by myself with all you hooligans is terrifying. But I think God is not going to allow that to happen. She's going to be around. She's probably going to outlive me because I'm crazy. All right.
What made you want to say yes to fostering in the first place?
Saying yes to fostering. So when I was a young kid, I always believed that I would adopt somehow. I don't know why, how, or I believe that if you are somebody that claims to be pro-life, you should therefore take some sort of action towards being pro-life. And my action that God planted in my heart was to adopt a vulnerable kid. A lot of people will say who are pro-life, like, oh, give up the baby for adoption. Yeah, that's easy to say. You should probably take some sort of action. And my action, even I remember in middle school telling somebody that I felt like I would adopt a kid when I was older. I don't know how, why, or the context of that conversation. So from a pretty young age, I knew I would adopt a kid somehow. Foster care? I don't know how we got down the rabbit hole of fostering.
It's probably after Mom had a miscarriage.
Yeah, well, Rosie was the name we gave our miscarried baby. We had started the conversation before that, so I don't really know. I mean, ultimately, it comes the obedience of following what Scripture says about caring for orphans. James 1:27 says, pure and genuine religion in the sight of God means caring for orphans and widows in their distress. And I just felt a really strong personal conviction that we should always do that. And that's why we said yes. And there was the only reason to say no was because we wanted to live a simpler, easier life. Everything biblical pointed to the fact we should say yes to foster and step into fostering. The only reason to say no to fostering because we wanted simple. Can you imagine if it was just you, me, mommy, and Benny, how easy and simple life would be? It'd be easy and simple, but it wouldn't be as nearly as fulfilling as it is with all these other kids we get to love and care for, would it?
For our first...
I asked you a question.
Wait, what?
I said, with just you, me, mommy, Benny, it would be really easy. But with all these other kids we get to love and care for, it's a lot more fulfilling, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Thanks for participating.
I'm going to, add on to that. But was their first foster kid, or his first foster kid, was that the first call you got after you got our license?
Yeah, we got our license call at about 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and then they called Mom at about 4:15 telling us we had a kid ready to go.
Oh. What's been the hardest part about fostering?
There's multiple things that have been hard. How broken the system is has been hard. Seeing kids leave our home because a judge makes an irresponsible decision for whatever reason, that was hard. Seeing the sacrifice you and Benny have had to make is hard. It's good. I know it's good for you guys long term to understand that the world doesn't revolve around you as a kid. So many people in our culture lives center on their kids. I know it's good for your development, but it's still hard sometimes when I just would love to hang out and sit around a bonfire with just you two and hang out and chill and go to the beach or whatever. But we can't because we have other kids. That's hard. The lack of sleep is hard. Mommy and me sacrificing, since we got our newborn baby back in the beginning of August, we haven't slept together in the same bed because we take turns sleeping downstairs with the baby. So we haven't been in the same bed at the same time together. What else is hard? What's hard for you about being a foster sister?
Honestly, I'm not saying this to be rude, but seeing how everyone else thinks that they should get their way and stuff and go whatever they want all the time, and it's just annoying being around people who are like that because I'm well.
You mean the foster kiddos?
No, people at my school are always wanting to.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm you should come to our house for a day.
Yeah, that's really unique for you. You being in a big family, and B, with foster kids, you've had to make a lot of sacrifices where you don't get your way all the time, and you have to make things, and a lot of other kids get to do whatever they want whenever they want. Yeah, that is hard. That is you handle it well. You do handle that really well.
Thank you.
What else is hard? What about home? At home, what's the hardest part for you?
Probably just how different everyone is and how they want to be treated, or not how they want to be treated, but how they you have to treat them so they'll say that you love them or
how they receive love. Yeah, that is hard.
Their love languages.
Yeah, that is hard.
What's been the most rewarding part of foster care?
The most rewarding part of foster, man, there's so many. I can't pick just one, but getting to adopt Leah was super rewarding. How we fought for her, how we got through so much, and just seeing where she's at now and how she's grown so much. That was super rewarding.
Because it's a miracle that she was survived her first year,
her
right?
first year of life was basically just stay alive, kid, right? And now she's done so well. She's thriving. She's hell on wheels. She's a blast. Getting to love all these kids, bringing them in, loving them, and just giving them a safe spot for however long that may be. Getting to show Jesus to people in the system that may not get to see Jesus, the caseworkers, the GALs, the CASs. That's rewarding. And honestly, just living out the biblical call of Romans 12, like I said earlier, sacrificing our lives, being a living sacrifice for Jesus, I think, is having people see that and hopefully encouraging others, inspiring others to be obedient to whatever it is God has called them to do is rewarding.
How do you handle saying goodbye to foster kids when they leave?
So one of the biggest myths of foster care is saying goodbye to every kid is hard.
Yeah, it is.
We know it's not. Some of the kids leaving we know was easy. Mm-hmm. I remember our first one. I don't know if you remember her at all. She was challenging.
She threw a laptop onto my head, I remember.
Yeah, she was challenging. We were ready for her to go home. So it was a Sunday night. I was leaving that next day to go with our high school to a week-long camp, church camp type deal. I just remember holding her and crying and praying for her. And even though I loved her, I was ready for her to go home because she disrupted our family a lot. But that small moment and having her, I realized how strongly we were called to do this, and how it was kind of surprising to me how much I had actually bonded with her. She was only with us a couple months. She wasn't with us very long.
I mean, she ended up being adopted by another family.
No, that's a different baby.
Oh, yeah.
That's a different baby.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, it's just dealing with kids leaving is another way God has taught me to trust him more. Because once they're out of our home, there's nothing we can do.
I mean, that's just a part of fostering.
It's a part of it. Doesn't make it any easier. But, yeah, it's part of fostering. You know, we've had some kids go home that we've fostered to good situations. And luckily, we stayed in decent contact with their bio parents. And that's awesome. That's ultimate goal is for kids to come to us and for bio parents, whatever the circumstances, to get right and get their kids back. And we love that when the circumstance is right. We've got to celebrate that a couple times. But, you know, it's just trusting God to protect those kids and love those kids and keep them safe while they're gone. And it's, you know, we can only control what we control. So I would say saying goodbye to kids is just another way God has taught me to trust him even more.
What advice would you give other dads who are thinking about fostering?
Just do it. You just got to do it. As with becoming a dad for the first time, becoming a foster dad, there's never going to be a perfect time. Such a thing does not exist. There's not a perfect time. You're never going to have all your ducks in a row. Whatever other expressions people say, you just have to step into it and accept the fact, like, this might get a little crazy. Because guess what?
It's going to get messy.
It's going to get messy. It's going to be crazy. Just do it. Be willing. It's not a forever commitment. If you step into it and you do it, you're like, this is a dumpster fire. My marriage is falling apart. My kids are whatever. You can always step away from foster care. So 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. And foster care allows God's power to just show off in weak humans all the time. So I would say any dad thinking about fostering, do it. Try it. If you have any questions, all of our contact information is in the show notes. Email us, hit us up on social media. I will personally schedule time to talk with you for any concerns you have and tell you what's real, what's not real. I will be honest. I don't paint it in a perfect picture. It's not rainbow and butterflies and all the things. It's challenging sometimes, but it's also worth it.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for these next questions.
Oh, boy.
Who's the funniest person in our family?
Me. So funniest person in our family, like intentionally funny, I think is me. Who do you think is the most, like, is the funniest, like, witty joke teller? Who do you think is the funniest?
Me.
You?
Yeah.
The funniest person accidentally funny is Mom. Because Mom will say something or do something. She has no idea it's funny, and it's hilarious. And it's really fun as a dad seeing all your little senses of humor bloom and sprout, because all you kids have a really good sense of humor, but they're all so unique. Like Benny already has a dad sense of humor. Like he already tells dad jokes, and it's hilarious. Leah's funny. You're funny. So it's really fun to see all of you guys, your little senses of humor come about.
Leah's just repeating all of our jokes.
She's funny, yeah.
What's your favorite family tradition that we have?
I really enjoy the traditions we do around the holidays, just slowing down as family and sitting, like Thanksgiving, just hanging out together. Mm-hmm. Going to church on Christmas Eve, I really enjoy. I'm really excited this year that Mommy isn't working at the church, and we don't have to figure out how to squeeze in church while she's working, and we all get to go and slow down. I enjoy decorating when you and Benny and Leah now help me decorate for the holidays outside. That's a lot of fun. I like
tree decorating?
Yeah, oh yeah. Always decorating the tree. Love doing that as a family, playing Christmas music. You guys have all gotten the Christmas enthusiasm like I have. The Clark Griswold gene. I have passed that down. What about you? What's your favorite family tradition?
It's probably when we all decorate the tree, because it's like fun to see all the memories, because everyone wants to do their own ornament. Mm-hmm. But we probably end up breaking like 7 ornaments like every single time.
Yeah, it happens, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we break some ornaments. That's okay. Yeah, we don't have a ton of traditions. We just have some small ones that I think are really meaningful to all of us.
I mean, I also like Deep Creek, but...
Yeah, Deep Creek's awesome. Yeah.
If you could take the whole family on a trip anywhere, where would we go?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I would love... So, if it wouldn't be such a dumpster fire for travel, I would love to take everybody to, like, a house on the beach in the Caribbean. I don't know if I'd rather do our own private house on a beach in the Caribbean or a all-inclusive resort.
Would this include like mom's side of the family and your side of the family, or just
our family?
Yeah.
We haven't got to do a lot of really super fun trips for just our family recently.
Yeah.
So, what else you got, kid?
If we had to pick anywhere to do a trip, it would probably be the beach, like in Florida.
Yeah, you guys like beaches.
Yeah. What's a funny memory from when I was little?
Oh, one of the funniest memories is when, you probably know what I'm going to say. You guess. I want to see if you can guess.
I don't know.
Guess. You don't know? You don't have any ideas? It was in our old house, and we had this teeny tiny little chair.
Oh, yeah.
And you were just running and just kapoof, just like somersaulted over it. That's probably my funniest memory of you as a little kid. I have some memories of you out in the snow, just looking like a pudgy little snowman, just kind of like falling over and stuff. I remember, it's not a fun memory, but Mommy and I were going to do taxes once, and we were in there, and Mom was holding you, and you just had the biggest smile on your face. You with your baby helmet was cute.
What's your go-to dad joke?
I don't have any good dad jokes.
Exactly. Benny
Benny tells dad jokes better than me. I don't have any good
Alexa,
dad jokes.
what's a good dad joke?
Yeah, he has gotten way too in tune with Alexa. What's your good dad joke?
I don't really know. If Leo's always like, Laney, what time it is? I'm like, time for you to get a watch. And she's like, just like hangs her mouth open. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
just boos you. Yeah.
Who's your favorite child as of this minute?
As of right now, today, at this moment, who's sleeping quietly? Whatever child is quiet and asleep is my favorite,
Brayden,
usually.
because he's not here.
Yeah, he's at school. No, it's funny. With so many kids, you guys are all so unique and funny in your own little ways. And one moment, one of you's driving me crazy, and the next moment, you're easy and fun and making me laugh. And I don't have a favorite. Maybe Maggie, the dog.
What's your favorite sport you watched and you played?
I really enjoyed watching you play volleyball this year. I know you didn't necessarily enjoy it that much, but I think I enjoyed watching you play volleyball. It's
better than softball.
Well, I think it's because you're getting older and you're not quite just such a clumsy goon like you were.
Clumsy anymore.
You're growing up and getting older and actually playing competitively. I really enjoyed watching you play volleyball this year. But it's always fun to watch you play whatever it is you're going to do.
What's something you hope people learn from our family story?
All it takes is a yes. You don't have to be anything extraordinary or anything special or anything like that. All it takes is obedience and trusting in God, and you can do incredible things. That's what this podcast is all about, dreaming small, right? Doing the small things obediently every day, and you can do some incredible things.
If you could give one piece of advice to other families, what would it be? I feel like you've already answered this.
Yeah, I feel like I've given a lot. I don't know. Give lots of grace. Don't have such tight expectations or boundaries. Don't give, like in bowling, you know how you get bumpers? Mm-hmm. I would say set bumpers for your kids, not super tight guidelines, because kids are going to break them, not because they're disrespectful.
You have to hold to the standards, or they think that
give standards you're willing to enforce. Don't just make up rules to have rules, but man, that's a good question. There's all kinds of things I would read your Bible. That's probably what I would tell you to do. Read your Bible every day. Because then that will
devotional.
Well, I don't do good at that, unfortunately. I'm trying to teach you guys how to read your Bible on your own, because
I'm doing it.
I'll be dead and gone long before that you guys can carry that on. So teaching you guys how to read your Bible, I would say. So read your Bible and teach your kids how to read your Bible, I'd say, is really important.
What does dream small mean to you?
I think we already kind of just talked about it, but doing the small things every day that might not be cool to post on social media, you might not get the tons of recognition here on earth for it, but it's doing the small things that God calls us to every day with love and care over and over and over again.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Do you want to close this out, or do you want me to?
I mean, how do you close it out?
However you want. Tell everybody goodbye.
Goodbye, guys.
Okay. That was a goodbye from Laney. I hope you enjoyed this. Wow, it ended up being over 30 minutes. This interview with Laney and I, and getting to know Dad. And I hope that you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time. Keep dreaming small.
Thanks for listening to the Dream Small podcast. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please tap the follow button and leave us a review. It helps other people find my mom and dad's show. If you're on Spotify, please give my parents a follow and a 5-star rating. And wherever you listen, don't forget to share the show with a friend who needs a little encouragement today. You can also follow us on social media to stay in the loop. Instagram at Dream Small Podcast, Facebook Dream Small Podcast, and Twitter X at Dream Small Show. Or email us anytime at dreamsmallpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. And remember, just dream small. See you next time.